Hello and welcome back to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry and this is Finish It Friday, where we see what I have finished this week and what you have finished this week. So let's just get right into everything that happened this week. We had our part 2 video on Wednesday of the Jungle Gal I Need a Quilt Today series, and if you haven't seen that finished quilt, you'll have to go to the end of part 2 to see a picture of that, if you haven't watched that yet. So that is one complete finish that I got completely done. Actually, I got it done last week, but I couldn't show you till this week. But can't show you today, it's gone. So go to that Wednesday part 2 if you just want to see the quilt, or watch both parts if you haven't seen them yet. Last Wednesday and this Wednesday. Yes, I completed a quilt from beginning to end in one day. It took all day and night, but I got it. Sometimes that happens. You need a quilt in a hurry. Also, I had a long arm project this week that I put on the long arm on Wednesday, and if you remember, it is it's from the March 2023 Pat Sloan Block a Day pattern. Don't remember the name of the pattern, but I do have a short clip here of some great pictures of it outside that I got. And I got that completely finished today. So I got the quilt top out. That is a Riley Blake line there in black and white. It's called Fleur Noir. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I don't know French. And then on the back, I put a little tiny red diagonal check, which is from Sweetwater, and it is called Flirt. So it's 52 by 52, and on the long arm I used a pattern called Field of Flowers. So it's just kind of an all-over floral design that I put on there. It's not anything that shows up really sharply, but it was appropriate for the theme of the quilt. And being the size that it is, I believe it would be good for a table topper or maybe a picnic blanket for two or something of the sort. Turned out really cute. I had forgotten how small that quilt really was. No wonder it didn't take long to make it, but I had chosen some other fabric that I could make another one with right after that, and I still have that sitting out to do because I love the pattern so much. But for a bed quilt, I think you would have to add several more rows onto that, and maybe another vertical as well. But it's a nice pattern, and it goes with the two color scheme of fabrics very well. Also, this week I finished Barn Star number 15, I think it is. I needed 3 of those, and I got those all completed earlier this week. And let me see what that is called. If you're not familiar with the Barn Star sampler quilt, it's something that's been going on for more than a year now, from this book by Shelley Kavana. And let me see what that star is called. It's called Windmill Star. And then I have several blocks coming up that are very small. They're 4x4 blocks, and I need 4 of each. So I may do 16, 17, and 18 this coming week or so, getting ahead for April. I may even end up finishing earlier than the sew along is. A lot of you have. As a matter of fact, we have one of you viewers who sent in a picture for today of your finished Barn Star sampler quilt top. So we'll get to that in a minute. I have also been working on, I finished all of my 12 hat blocks. I think I showed that to you on Monday. And then I started on the dresses, Millie's dresses. This is a Lori Holt pattern, and I'm using the line in this pattern and in this pattern from the Market Street by Heather Peterson from Anka's Treasures. So I talked about this a little bit on Monday and how my sleeves the points had gotten cut off. So I fixed that. I was able to just tease those out of there and get those points back. It did cause a little bit of fullness on either side of the waistband, but it's in the background fabric, so you can't really see it. Once it's quilted down, it'll disappear completely. I did talk about how I had very little seam allowance here and here. I think I can make that work. I stay stitched them down so that they'll stay together nicely when I go to sew blocks together. And even though it will be a very narrow seam allowance, I think it will be strong enough. So I did not get back to this week. As I mentioned on Monday, I probably would put this away for a little bit so that I could concentrate on some other things. So that's what I did. And then also Happy Days, I did get the Happy Days out, and one day I spent time cutting up these strip sets. I have a whole bunch of strip sets, and I don't know if you remember the pattern, I've showed you probably a couple times, but if you put these two together back and forth, it makes a border. So I hope that's going to work. Yeah. So I made these strip sets, and now I have them cut down into the 60-degree triangles that I need. So this part of the border is complete and ready to be added. These, not so much. This is the other half, and I have to applique some circles on here. There's a big circle and then a smaller circle on there. So I have been able to get my circles done, my large circles. I still have to do my small circles. So I have an A and B circle there that you probably couldn't see that. See, there's two circles on there. And so I had to trace all those circles onto fabric, and then that onto Heat and Bond Light, and then cut them out. So that's what I've been working on. So these are ready to go on these, and then I'll applique those down as well with the machine. So I just have to make my little circles, and then I can start putting these triangles together and get the border going. And then I still have 4 little corner blocks to have applique on them. So more to do. I still have the goal of getting it done by the end of March, so we shall see if that happens. I hope it does. Please let it happen. Please stay in the mood to work on Happy Days. So I think that's all. I did play around with some scraps one evening. I was too tired to think, on a pattern or a certain project, and I just got some scraps out and goofed around. I'll show you that later. Maybe on Monday I'll show you what I'm doing. As a matter of fact, I think I need some advice from some of you who have made this block before, this scrappy block. Yeah, I got a question about that. So tune in Monday so you can find out what that question was. All right, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and get into the email now and see what some of you have sent in. I have a few things. Here's one from Jenny. She finished her Quilt As You Go from our recent series. She says, I've completed the Quilt As You Go project. It was a great way to build a quilt as I have limited space in my studio. Build a quilt, I like that. I chose a dark gray marble fabric for the sashes and center squares. The backing fabric is an organic floral cotton I had in my stash. I'm happy with the way it turned out. Yes, I think it turned out just really cute. I love your choices of fabric. Those all coordinate very well together. So that's the thing with this Quilt As You Go. You can use your scraps and kind of coordinate your scraps, or you can actually use a line of fabric to make this quilt. Both look fabulous, or some combination of the two. So this one turned out really good, and on your backing I can see that you did a fantastic job getting those sashings to line up nicely. It turned out really good. Great job. I have one from, let's see, Daphne. She says, I have recently joined your YouTube channel. Welcome. and am enjoying it immensely. It's great to see other people's finishes on Fridays. Attaching a photo of my quilt, Madeline Plus. I started this quilt in about 2018 doing a class on the Husqvarna Sapphire embroidery machine and using the Madeline program for it. I don't know if it's Madeline or Madeline. I learned the use of the endless hoop as well as getting practice with my regular hoop. I added some fence rail type blocks to my embroidered ones in 2023 and got it to my target, a queen size. I shopped my stash to make the fence rail blocks and just finished it on March 10th, just a few days ago. I'm so pleased to get it done. And Daphne is from Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland, Canada. She's been quilting for about 30 years, she says. So wonderful. You people who have your embroidery machines, I'm so envious. You can do such neat things with that. And of course I love the turquoise and the gold together. Looks great. And then you've added those pops of color with your border to make your quilt bigger. And that's something we can remember if we feel like our quilt top is just not the right size. Just add more borders. Okay, Shelly has a project here for us that she is working on. She is so close to being done. She will finish it soon. This is a paper piecing project for her sweet daughter-in-law. And this is really cute. I think she sent this after seeing Monday's Art Quilt of the Week. I believe it might be the same pattern or tool that they use for theirs. And then I love your paper pieced blocks that's going to surround that quilt. I will love to see it again when we've got it all completely together, Shelley. Pat has sent a baby quilt. This is 36 by 44. Made using 4.5-inch squares of antique pink chenille bedspread from my mother-in-law and assorted pink cotton squares, a great texture for baby. Yes, it is. Don't you just love chenille? How many of you, tell me in the comments, had grown up with chenille bedspreads or blankets? We called them bedspreads, but we had some of those growing up, and as a matter of fact, I have one that I got from a yard sale a few years ago. It's probably a king size. And I just got it just because it's pure white, but it has kind of a looser design. Like Pat's blanket here has kind of a tight chenille, you know, the lines and the curved lines in it. Mine has a bigger design, so there's a lot of flat space in it. What can I do with that? Should I cut that up for something? It has one stain on it, and I have worked on it to try to get it out, and I unsuccessfully have been able to get it out. I know some more tricks now, so I probably could try again, but I am perfectly willing to cut it up. So if any of you have some ideas on what I can do with that, let me know. Let me know. But this is really cute, and yes, that is wonderful texture for that baby girl. Kayleen has sent in a finish. She says, I attended a handy quilter workshop last week and gained just enough courage to come home and give my Moxie XL a go. Good for you, Kayleen. There was quite a bit of frustration and lots of YouTube watching, but I got this quilt finished. I know your pain. Each row was a new challenge, but I think I learned quite a bit, and I've got another project loaded and ready to go. Hope you have a great week full of lots of sewing. I did. Yes, just get back up on that horse and put another quilt on there and just keep going. That's what I do. So I wish I would have kept count of how many. I can probably go and figure it out. How many quilts I have long armed so far. It's got to be over 10 by now, or right about 10. So I learned some more stuff just today from one of you. Thank you for some of you responded to my plea for some help on closing the gap, and I got a couple of people who sent me some really good information and directed me to some videos, some of which I had watched before, but I wasn't far enough along in my knowledge to appreciate what the video was teaching. So now that I'm going back and watching those videos again and getting past the elementary parts that I went there for, I can benefit from the rest of the video. So, yeah, good for you, Kayleen. And your quilt looks absolutely fabulous. I see you've used that, you've used a meander on there. I don't know if you did that as an edge-to-edge or you did that free motion yourself. Either way, looks great, perfect for that quilt. Pam has been playing with some scraps and some rulers and such. She says, I played with Rex's tool and Carla Alexander's spiderweb tool ruler and came up with a way to use my scraps. Each of the units were sewn into a 9 patch measuring 12.5 inches. Borders added and piping constructed and attached. And back of pillowcase added using some Walmart fabric. Not bad for a shoestring budget. I think it turned out great. I like your design you made up with your rulers. I think it's super cool. And you did some awesome little free motion in there. In some of your squares I see. Looks great. Good for you. And you use lots of different skills on this project. So you can find a lot of gems in your scraps and your amongst your rulers and in your scrap bin. You can make stuff like this. Okay, Victoria, here is our Barn Star sampler completed. If you remember, Victoria sent her last blocks last week on Finish It Friday. So now she has her entire quilt top together and it looks fabulous. I love your teals that you've included in there, and they contrast really nice with the jewel tone reds and deep burgundies that's there. I really like that. Looks great. And congratulations for getting to the end. You made it. So if I can just make it, I think I will. I think I will be able to make it. Alright, so that is the end of our little quilt show there. But we have 2 winners of the seam guide. So stay tuned for this little clip right here and see who won the 2 seam guides from Wednesday's video. I'm just going to let you watch that clip, and I'll sign off now. And so come back here on Monday for Monday Quilt Chat, and then again on Wednesday for a surprise video, and then back around again for Finish It Friday, 3 videos a week. Make sure you're subscribed. If you see the word subscribe anywhere on your screen, please touch it, and also touch the little black bell, and you'll always get notified of videos. So have a great weekend. Have a productive sewing session this weekend if you can, or just sew a little bit each day. It's always best to do a little something than not anything at all. So I will see you back here on Monday. Bye. Okay, it's time for the giveaway for the seam guide, the upgraded seam guide. You all saw this demonstrated on Wednesday's video, and if you made a comment on that video, you are entered into this giveaway. If for some reason you indicated that you did not want to be included in the giveaway, I will choose an alternate winner. So there will be 2 of you who will receive one of these. If your name comes up on this random comment picker program here, send me your mailing information at the lessonslearnt2021@gmail.com email address. So that is in the description box of all of my videos, if you don't remember. So let's pick a couple of winners. Susie Carol Morin and Charlotte DeRoche. I don't know how you I don't know how you pronounce your last name, Charlotte. I'm so sorry. And Susie, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name right either. So Susie and Charlotte. Susie says, nice quilt and nice tool for binding. And Charlotte says, what a great helper that seam guide is, like having an extra hand. Yes, it is. I agree on both counts. So Susie and Charlotte, please send your information to me to the email lessonslearned2021 at gmail.com, and I will send those right out to you.